which is a huge topic on the minds of mothers especially. You're seeing what's happening at these school board meetings. Where do you stand on these vaccine mandates? And obviously, I know that you are pro-vaccine. Obviously, you did everything you could to get this vaccine out. I know where you stand on the vaccine.
It was one of the greatest achievements. We did it in less than 9 months.
To be able to do that. Yeah, but now it's taken a twist, right? It's gotten, now we went from, this is a good thing and people should have this option, to military men, you're going to have to resign because you're not getting this vaccine. Where do you stand on that?
Well, I stand on, forget about the mandates, people have to have their freedom, but at the same time, the vaccine is one of the greatest achievements of mankind. We would have had in 1917, remember the Spanish flu, killed perhaps 100 million people. Actually, it ended the First World War because the soldiers were so, a lot of people don't know that. The soldiers got so sick. It was a terrible thing. There was no vaccines, there was no anything. I came up with a vaccine, with 3 vaccines. All are very, very good. Came up with 3 of them in less than 9 months. It was supposed to take 5 to 12 years.
And yet more people have died under COVID this year, by the way, under Joe Biden, than under you. And more people took the vaccine this year. So people are questioning how...
Well, no, the vaccine worked, but some people aren't taking it. The ones that get very sick and go to the hospital are the ones that don't take the vaccine. But it's still their choice. And if you take the vaccine, you're protected. Look, the results of the vaccine are very good. And if you do get it, it's a very minor form. People aren't dying when they take the vaccine.
What about the masking of children? That's a big one for moms right now.
I think it's a terrible thing.
That flies in the face of science. The kids have a virtual 0% chance of dying of COVID, and yet they're insisting on these vaccine mandates. On these masking mandates, and now even the vaccine mandates for small children. And what's going on there?
I think what's happening is you look at the masks where Fauci and a lot of other people said masks don't mean anything. All of a sudden he becomes a radical masker.
Crazy.
I don't like to see the kids with the masks on. They're sitting in school. They have a hard enough time sitting in school.
Looks like China. I've been to China.
And yet China's education system's a hell of a lot better than ours. You know what? They're rated number 2 or 3 and we're rated number 44.
But masking children,
it's bad.
The way it looks, right? It doesn't look like a free country.
I'm against it.
First, I want to thank everybody that has subscribed, liked, commented. I appreciate everything that you've said. No matter what you've said, I appreciate the likes. Please share this with your friends. Make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you hit that share button. We're trying to make sure that everybody know that they're not victims, that they're empowered for greatness, that we can make a difference again in this nation. That we can stand up for biblical values, we can stand up for truth and push back against all the lies and everything that's false that's taking place in this land. So I appreciate that. And please, thank you for looking at my videos and participating and making our voice known. So former President Trump had an interview with Candace Owens where he said that vaccines work. He shut down her argument saying the vaccines were not effective and more people have died this year than they have last year. And see, arguments like that distract from the main point. Whether you agree with President Trump or not. Personally, I've heard different people talk about the efficacy of the vaccines and the potential long-term damages they could do to your body, but nobody really knows. But the problem and the point here is that the media likes to use what I call point of contacts to distract. See, the vaccine, calling people anti-vax or pro-vax, is all intentional to distract from the ultimate purpose of taking power away from you, from taking agency away from you, from taking control, giving more control to the government. You have to understand something. The spirit that's behind this system, it knows human beings. It knows that humans like to be controlled. Why do you think after 9/11 there was a big push for the Patriot Act? More and more of our freedoms and liberties were taken after 9/11. Same thing happens after this, after COVID. So they're using a vaccine as a pivot to pull back more and more of your freedoms and your liberties and give them to the government. It's an exchange. It's more than a great reset, it's a great exchange. You have to understand something. Progressives are not about progression. They're about regression. Why do you think there's such a big push against anti-racism, rather? Why do you think the media wants to put people in different categories? White supremacy, racist, anti-vax. They want to make things black and white so they can segregate and bring in and usher in the revolution that they want to bring in: socialism, communism, and Marxism. See, it's all a ploy, it's all a tactic, it's all a trick to get you compliant. That's what it is. They use fear. The media is a propaganda arm. So they spew fear. They get you afraid. Therefore, when you're afraid, you're more apt to want peace. You're more apt to want calm. You're more apt to want certainty. And so you will exchange your freedoms and your liberty for certainty. And once the government takes a portion of your freedom and your liberty, they will not give it back. They want us to be victims. But understand, we are not victims. We are empowered for greatness. A lot of people are thinking, did President Trump get blue pilled? Is something going on? Has he been swallowed by the swamp?
Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. What truth? That you are a slave, Neo. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage, born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. A prison for your mind. Unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
We can disagree on different things. I disagree on whether or not the vaccines work. My problem is not the vaccine. The problem is the power that they're using to enforce vaccine mandates. See, that's the problem, but people don't want to talk about that. They want to distract to say this person's anti-vax, this person's pro-vax. No, the issue is the stripping away of liberties and power and wealth because of the vaccine. They're using that. They're using that as a ploy, as a tactic for fear. But we are not victims. We can't operate by fear. See, God doesn't control us. The devil looks to control people. That's the difference. That's why people have a tough time with Christianity, because it's not about control. It's all about relationship. It's all about being led, not controlled. And that's the difference. And see, the government and the spirit of this age wants to control people. They want people to be sheeple. They want to be able to dictate what they can and can't do for their benefit. Not the benefit of the people, but for the benefit of the government, of the system. But we are not victims. We are empowered for greatness. So yeah, I disagree with former President Trump. I disagree with him saying that the vaccines work, because we have anecdotal evidence that show that they may not work. But that's not the point. The point is the stripping away of our liberties through the use of mandates and other mechanisms of the government. We are not victims. We are empowered for greatness. Thank you so much for liking and your comments and subscribing to the channel. Please share this with your friends. Smash that like button. smash the subscription bell, share this with everybody you know. We're trying to make sure people understand that they're not victims, that they are empowered for greatness, and all this stuff that's out here that's telling them otherwise is false and will not benefit them in the end. So please, I appreciate that. Share that.